There was this function. You know, we usually have functions such as weddings, funerals, and so on. In the month of October, I've had 4 funerals. 2 are close blood relatives, 2 are brothers who are the closest one could be if not related. I considered them brothers. One, we have been friends for over 40 years, and the other one, my father adopted him as one of us, so he was an adopted brother. It is during such occasions that you find yourself, for example, I usually present myself half an hour before the appointed time. And usually, most people come half an hour. The meetings usually start half an hour after the appointed time. And some people come 1 hour after the meeting has started. So it is during this time when you are still waiting for the quorum that you find yourself in a palaver. Now, I found myself in a palaver of one young man who is old enough to be my son, and one young woman who is old enough to be my daughter. We started talking, and the man talked to me and said that marriage of today, they have a problem. They have a problem, the problem being that women want to scroll their men's phones. And the young man asked me that when you are my age, you didn't have this challenge, but you had other challenges. And then I said every generation has its own challenges. I turned to the young woman and asked her comment. She said she was shocked. She was shocked. You know, they are related through marriage. So she was shocked that a married man would not want his phone to be scrolled. She even told me that a man who is serious with his marriage should not refuse the phone being checked. And then the young man retorted and said, when it comes to such privacy, then I'd rather separate with my wife. There was a small argument there, to and fro, but then I had to interject. First of all, every generation has its own challenges. Up to the time you reach 45 years, I would say that every marriage when the man is 35 years, to the time the man is 45 years, usually there is a lot of challenges. After the man reaches 45, challenges reduce. Now, today's challenge is phones. I want to put it this way. I've consulted people of my age. I have consulted people younger than me. I have consulted very few cases of married couples older than me. I remember there was somebody in Webuye who used to work with Pan Paper, and when I tried to console him and his wife, the man just turned to me and said he cannot discuss his marital issues with somebody young enough. I mean, over 5 years younger than him. I have counseled marriages of people around my age. I have a broken leg as a result. You find that you counsel people, you know their secrets, especially if you are a man. Let me tell you, the woman will never like you. Women don't like people knowing their secrets. So the few cases I've had was that women later, even after them joining together, women later hated me because they knew I knew a lot of things. For example, someone has 5 children. After having 2 children, they differed with the wife, and the wife went to her place. She came back with the 3rd child, and they had 2 more kids. Now, when you sit down and find out that is the thing, the woman will hate you forever. That is when you are counseling people of your age. I had that problem. The other problem I had is I talked of my broken leg. You counsel somebody, and then there are times when you talk to them together. There's a time you talk to each aside. Things went bad. It seemed as if the man and the woman were not going to be together. So the man looked for an exit way, and he tried to say that I was trying to take over from him. Yes, of course, we have cases where the person who's trying to counsel you may end up taking up your partner. But today we are talking about phones. Young ladies, if you want your peace of mind, if you want to live a very peaceful married life, please don't scroll his phone. I am of an opinion that any marriage, especially young ones, I'm not trying to say that I'm that way, but I'm trying to say I may not be that way, but at my age I've come to realize that is the best option, is that there are 3 arrangements you should make in a home. Let's take an example of bank accounts. Let the man and wife, I'm talking of a monogamous marriage, I'm not talking of a polygamous marriage. Now, in a monogamous family, I would recommend that husband and wife have one common bank account. And I would also recommend that the man has his own bank account, his own, and the woman has her own bank account. Similarly, issues. They should have a common family issues where one should not hide the other. But then they should also have their own issues where the other partner allows the other one to have his or her own life without necessarily involving. Marriage does not mean that you involve your partner in everything of your affair. This is somebody from another family. Let him or her have issues of her family or his family, and you be aside. And even issues of friendship and on. What I'm trying to say is that there are 3 dimensions here. There is the joint dimension, and then there is each and whatever. Scrolling into another one's phone is entering into that person's dimension. Lastly, I want to ask ladies, young ladies who scroll, or out of 98% of the marriages I've seen with women, the ears are open for any move, for any whatever, or any suspicion. And they're always believing that somebody out there is after your man. Let me talk to young people, both men and women. If you're married to somebody for 1 year and people don't admire him or her, then you're in the wrong marriage. Yes, a person admiring a non-relative admiring your spouse, even at my age, brings concern. But if you have a spouse who is not admired by anybody else, then uliokota mkebe. So you have to balance between that admirable person and that fencing, you ring fence so that rivals don't take your spouse. But then I want to give this, and that's why I said this is the last point. We all admire leopards. We all admire cheetahs. We all admire wild cats. They are more beautiful than the cats that we have in the home. We have camels at home, but we admire giraffes. You know, giraffe and camel are the same family. People come from Europe, spend a lot of money in aeroplanes, hotels, and even Masai Mara, just to watch buffaloes. And they have cows and bulls at home. What am I trying to say? Is that out there are so many beautiful people. Your spouse admires those people. Your spouse flatters with those people. But what happens in the evening when all these things do? He pays or she pays to watch a leopard. He pays or she pays to watch a giraffe. But what happens in the evening? He goes back to his camels. He goes back to his cat, and he goes back to his bulls and cows. He admires those beautiful things out, but he would prefer to live with these remotely beautiful things. So you are special to your spouse.